أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا وأبشروا بالجنة التي كنتم توعدون. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Indeed, those who have said, Our Lord is Allah, and then remained on a right course, the angels will descend upon them. Do not fear and do not grieve, but receive good tidings of paradise which you were promised. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, on behalf of the Muslim community of Northern California, specifically the Sabah Islamic Center of San Jose, the Islamic Center of Zahra Pleasanton, the Fatimiyya Islamic Center of Hayward, and Masjid Al-Hussein in Tracy, and Masjid Quba in Sacramento, we are observing the International Al-Quds Day. Unfortunately, due to circumstances relating to the COVID-19 pandemic, we are not able to have this program on the streets, but we are conducting it virtually. Imam Ali alayhi salam said, Kuna lil-zalimi khasman wa lil-mazlumi auna, which means be a enemy to the oppressor and a helper of the oppressed. So it is our obligation as Muslims and as humans, peoples of conscience, to speak out against oppression and injustice throughout the world. So we commemorate this day, the last Friday of Ramadan, to protest and denounce the atrocities committed by the Zionist regime and all the oppressors in the world. In a time like this, where the world is focused on the pandemic, we cannot neglect our responsibilities to Palestine. We cannot neglect our responsibilities to Al-Quds. When our president takes an unprecedented action and recognizes Jerusalem as the undivided capital of Israel, when he decides to move the embassy of the U.S. to Jerusalem, now more than ever we have to denounce this. Now more than ever we have to raise our voice through any means possible and stand with Al-Quds and stand with Palestine. So today's program is going to consist of speeches from our youth, from the local community, as well as presentations and some speeches from our scholars, as well as guest rabbis. Now we would like to officially start the program with the recitation of the Holy Quran by Brother Ali Hassan Palsania. He's a 6th grader from Fremont, and he attends Fatimiyya Sunday School.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولما برزوا لجالوت وجنوده قالوا ربنا أفرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين فهزموهم بإذن الله وقتل داود جالوت وآتاه الله الملك والحكمة وعلمه مما يشاء ولولا دفع الله الناس بعضهم ببعض لفسدت الأرض ولكن الله ذو فضل على العالمين تلك آيات الله نتلوها عليك بالحق تلك آيات الله نتلوها عليك بالحق تلك آيات الله نتلوها عليك بالحق وإنك لمن المرسلين صدق الله العلي العظيم.
MashaAllah, Jazakallah, brother, for the recitation. Now, I would like to introduce Sayyid Hasnain Ali. He's from the Sabah Youth Group, and he has created a presentation called A Day of Life in Gaza.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. My name is Sayyid Hassan Ali, and today I'm going to talk about Quds Day, more specifically, a day in the life in Gaza. Palestinians have been fighting for the land for many, many years from atrocities by Israel. The Gaza, also known as the Gaza Strip, has been an unsettled dispute for many, many years between Israel, Egypt, and Palestine. And by the looks of it, it's not going to stop anytime soon. For more than a decade, Palestinians living in Gaza have borne major accounts of violence and an air and sea blockade imposed by Israel and Egypt that has devastated the infrastructure, stifled economic growth, and made living conditions so dismal that it is almost uninhabitable. The international law considers indiscriminate attacks on civilian and civilian structures. A day in the life of a Gaza is something no human should go through. As we can see through the history, it doesn't seem pretty. Almost 4 years after the 2014 war, Gaza's continued isolation has devastated its economy, impoverished its population, and left 60% without jobs, adequate electricity, or health organizations. Aid organizations say around 90% of Gaza's water is unsafe to drink because of the raw sewage is pumped directly into the sea because there's not enough electricity to power the sewage system. Many growing children want to become journalists or leaders as they are protesting and observing the same atmosphere every day. It is not easy to live there. Every day, they face new challenges. Sometimes unexpected bombings, showers, bullets, explosions, tear gas bombings, and much more. In the fight, even young children and women are a part of this. They want their motherland, fighting for it. We live in a prison, said Naid Al-Ghul, who delivered drinking water. International human rights organizations have repeatedly condemned Israel's blockade and related restrictions, saying that they are repeatedly breaking international humanitarian law. When will Gaza get the rights they deserve? We don't know, but they're protesting every day in hopes that someday freedom will arrive. No human should be deprived of their minimal livelihood. If you're kind to others, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be kind to you. Please support Gaza families. I strongly suggest you to donate to Gaza families in need. Hazrat Ali salam, said, if you want to pray to Allah for subsistence, then give charity. Support humanity. Support Gaza.
Thank you, Brother Hasnan, for that insightful presentation. Next, we will tune into Rend Al-Itbiz, and she is a 15-year-old. She's a 13-year-old from Fatimiyya Sunday School, and she has prepared a presentation as well.
Assalamu alaikum. Today I will be talking to you about Al-Quds Day. What is Al-Quds Day? Al-Quds Day is an annual day to come together and protest against oppressors. Al-Quds, or Jerusalem Day, since Quds is the Arabic word for Jerusalem, is celebrated or held on the last Friday of Ramadan. It was initiated by the Islamic Republic of Iran in 1979 to express support towards Muslims who are being oppressed all around the world. Oppression in Yemen. Shia Muslims in Yemen were being oppressed by Wahhabis, or tyrants, because they believed they were sinners. The Shias came together and rebelled against the Wahhabis. They are still fighting and arguing to this day. The Shias got the spark of rebellion from Imam Hussein's rebellion against Yazid. Imam Hussein rebelled against Yazid because he was displaying Islam incorrectly. He would drink alcohol, kill people, and sin, and yet call himself a Muslim. This made people make incorrect assumptions about Islam. People would look down on Islam because of Yazid, who was supposed to be the leader and role model. Imam Hussein knew that this couldn't continue, so he rose up against Yazid. Even though he died along with a small army, it was a victory in the end. Imam Hussein knew that he would get killed, but he also knew that his death would send a message to all of the people. A message that Yazid was not correct and that he was the true role model of a good Muslim. Oppression in Palestine. Palestinian people would be kicked out of their homes and have their homes destroyed by Jews who would take over the land for themselves. Palestinian children were killed by some Jewish people who wielded guns. Some Palestinians were raised in refugee camps because of this. Oppression in other parts of the world. Muslims are oppressed in China, India, and even sometimes in America. This is unjust and not fair. Oppression shouldn't have been a thing that we have to worry about as Muslims. Al-Quds Day gives us a chance to publicly stand up against oppressors and show them that we do not accept this. Thank you.
Please recite a loud salawat for Sister Rend for creating such a nice presentation. Next, we will listen to Sister Zainab Malik. She is a member of the ICZ community, and she is a 15-year-old freshman at California High School in Pleasanton. Please recite one salawat for her as well.
Assalamu alaikum. Al-Quds Day takes place on the last Friday of Ramadan to signify the global Muslims' gesture of solidarity and support for all of the oppressed peoples of the world, as epitomized by the Palestinian people under the Zionist regime. On August 7, 1979, shortly after the Islamic Revolution, Ayatollah Khomeini proclaimed Quds Day as an annual day of solidarity against the usurper Israel. Quds Day fits into Khomeini's revolutionary paradigm as a show of resistance and support of oppressed peoples against arrogant oppressive powers. Bent on the destruction of Palestinian freedom fighters, Israel has been ceaselessly bombing their houses and homes in southern Lebanon. What is happening to Muslims around the globe? In China, they are put into concentration camps. In Myanmar, they are slaughtered in mosques. In India, they have been the targets of systematic pogroms. In Israel, along with Christian Palestinians, they are mowed down on a daily basis. In Europe and the United States, they are subject to increasing demonization and persecution. A Chinese Muslim described being separated from her family and kept under heinous conditions, where prisoners were routinely punished for observing their faith and having insufficient knowledge about Chinese culture or language. Since 2016, Muslim-majority Rohingya in Rakhine State have been the targets of Myanmar armed forces and police. Quds Day is a day when the fate of the oppressed nations must be determined. It is a day when committed individuals are preferred over hypocrites. Dedicated people consider today as Quds Day and act as they are obliged. The hypocrites are indifferent today or do not allow the nations to demonstrate on this day. No doubt in each and every one of these circumstances, one can come up with multiple and varied explanations as to what is happening to Muslims. Let's voice our support for our suffering brothers and sisters around the globe. Liberation of the Quds and all other Palestinian territories from the Zionist occupation is the main goal of the Islamic world. The only way to settle the issue of Palestine is to press ahead with resistance to allow the return of displaced Palestinians from around the world to their motherland and to hold a free referendum to decide the fate of their country.
In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and most merciful. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. During these difficult times, we must remember that our struggle is nothing compared to that of the Palestinian people. Since the beginning of the Zionist occupation of Palestine, the Palestinians that resisted forced displacement in their own country have been subjected to heightened violence, massacres, and unjust policies created by foreign governments, further disenfranchising their human rights. As leaders of other countries have legalized the Israeli occupation of Al-Quds as the quote-unquote deal of the century, this gave power to the Israeli occupiers while completely ignoring the rights of the oppressed. According to the UNHCR, United Nations Higher Commission of Refugees, there are 5.5 million Palestinian refugees registered under UNRWA. That is the same as the population of Finland. Imagine a whole country displaced, living in tents in foreign lands without any rights. But we don't have to imagine, for this is the sad reality of the Palestinian people that has been ignored despite weighing heavily on the conscience of humanity for 72 years. Today, young Palestinians continue to defend their land, their freedom, and their right to live at the cost of their and their families' lives, as thousands are persecuted each year. Despite being under non-stop occupation for 72 years, and with the passing of 3 generations, the Palestinian people have never surrendered. We must follow their example and bring the world's attention to this human catastrophe. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, once said, "من رأى منكم منكرا فليغيره بيده فإن لم يستطع فبلسانه فإن لم يستطع فبقلبه وذلك أضعف الإيمان." Whoever amongst you sees or witnesses an evil act, he must change it with his hand. If he is unable to do so, then with his tongue. And if he is unable to do so, then with his heart. And that is the weakest form of faith. It is our duty as true Muslims and human beings to speak up about the injustices our people are facing. However, freeing Al-Quds is not just an issue that concerns Muslims, but also Christian and Jewish people, our brothers and sisters in faith. We must all rise above our differences and unite, as it is a holy site for us all. I would like to conclude by wishing the Muslim Ummah all over the world Ramadan Kareem and Eid Mubarak, especially the people in Palestine. Insha'Allah, one day, this atrocity will come to an end with the appearance of Imam al-Mahdi Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu al-Sharif. Wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I will now introduce Sister Shakiba Jawadi from Tracy. She is a sophomore at Kimball High School in Tracy, and she is a member of Masjid Imam Hussein. Please recite a salawat for her as well.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Salam, my dear brothers and sisters. Free Palestine until it's backwards. Palestine is free. As Muslims, we must unite to fight the resistance of injustice towards the Palestinians. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is one of the world's longest running and most controversial conflicts. At its heart It is a conflict between two self-determination movements, the Jewish Zionist movement and the Palestinian Nationalist Project, that lay claim to the same territory. We know, and everyone knows, that that land belongs to the Palestinians. We must help the injustice towards them. We must put an end to the violent displacement, exclusion, and discrimination that the Palestinians have faced in various ways since the ethnic cleansing of 1948. So think alike with me and our fellow Muslims and Palestinians. We must free Palestine. We will fight off the injustice. We will help the Palestinians' rights, not only for the Palestinians, but for all of humanity. We will defend the innocent people. So let's unite as one today, us Muslims together. We will free Palestine. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Sister Shakiba, for that nice speech. Now we will change things up a little bit with a poem from Sister Huda Afsari. She is an 18-year-old from Rise Academy. Please recite a salawat for her as well.
A poem for Jerusalem, written by Fatima Belkhi and edited by Huda Afsari. O Quds, tears fell until the earth dried up. Prayers were sung until the wind ceased. Man kneeled in weakness until the ground shook. O Quds, a city filled with the fragrance of the holy men. A city with a diamond-colored path between earth and light. The city of broken faith. The city of grief. The city of darkness. O Quds, your scars are graves of children dead but standing, corpses eating, drinking, running, crying, sleeping. No mothers caressing them from pain, no fathers holding them high from corruption. No brothers making them smile when the moon hides, no sisters walking them to the palaces of imagination. O Quds, who can wash the blood from the marble, the stolen ink from the grieved book? The marble wall where whispered prayers touched, the mihrab, the marble tower where cries had been muted, the minaret. The marble throne where the teachings of the old lay untouched, the minbar. O Quds, who will save Abraham's scrolls? Who will save Moses' Torah? Who will save David's Psalms? Who will save Isa's Bible? Who will save Muhammad's Quran? Who will save humankind? O Quds, the city of pain and hope, the city of peace and desperation, one day, lemon trees will blossom, green branches will thrive, tears will spring in joy, one day, candles will flicker alike, the ground will shake with merriment, a city of revived faith. A city of bliss, a city of light, a city of gardens, a city of children playing. The marble will glisten like stars in the Arabian sky, the marble wall where gratitude will touch the mihrab, the marble tower where birds will serenade, the minaret, the marble throne where the teachings of the old lay will soar, the minbar. Abraham's scrolls will be mentioned, Moses' Torah will be respected, David's Psalms will be sung, will be remembered, Muhammad's Quran will be taught, humankind will be there. O Quds, stay for one more day.
That was Huda Afsari reciting a beautiful poem about Al-Quds. Now we will turn to Sister Farheen Shah from the Islamic Center of Zahra, and she is also a sophomore at Kimball High School in Tracy, and she will be delivering a speech for us.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Farheen Shah, and today I'll be talking about the oppression against Muslims that sadly takes place in many places around the world. Quds Day, as a unique occasion for Muslims around the globe, takes place on the last Friday of the holy month of Ramadan. It is the day of persecuted ones against the tyrants. It is a day to remember Quds, the beloved land of Palestine. It is a day for us to remember the catastrophe and calamity that was brought upon them with the creation of the State of Israel. This day is a day where we stand against oppression and support the oppressed, not only in Palestine, but anywhere in the world. Muslims all around the world are facing unprecedented repression. Muslim minorities from China to India and beyond are facing discrimination, mass internment, and even extermination at the hands of their own governments. China has built concentration camps for over 1 million Muslim ethnic minorities. India passed a citizenship law that excludes Muslims. The United States continues to implement a travel ban that is separating American Muslims from family members abroad. And Myanmar committed a textbook campaign of ethnic cleansing against its Rohingya minority, killing thousands and forcing hundreds of thousands to flee. And beyond that, there's nowhere for them to go. Many countries around the world, not just the United States, have put up immigration barriers specifically targeting Muslims. The world has continuously faced war and oppression, and these pressures continue to increase. The world has now become a place of persecution and injustice, a trend that needs to be reversed immediately. Thank you.
Now let's tune in to Sister Aya Al-Madhkur from the Sabah Youth Group. She is 13 years old in the 8th grade, and she has prepared a beautiful presentation for us.
In the 1948 Arab War, about 900,000 Palestinians were forced to leave their country because of the founding of Israel. Many of them became refugees in Lebanon. There are 58 official Palestinian refugee camps. They are located in Jordan, the West Bank, Gaza, Syria, and Lebanon. Many of these Palestinians retained the hope of returning home one day. But nearly 7 decades later, the refugee camps have become a part of the landscape of Lebanon. Lebanon now hosts 4th, 5th, and even 6th generation refugees. Over 1.5 million of the Palestinian refugees live in the refugee camps. Their rights to work and to own property are extremely limited. They have no citizenship in any country, and they face discrimination daily because of their origins. Palestinian refugees have been refused the right to return to their place of origin. Israeli officials have declared that such right is not legitimate. Some refugees are forced to live in a tent. Essentials like milk for children and food are scarce and difficult to provide. Many families go to sleep hungry because of no food and money. Health care is also a problem. Medicine is unavailable and diseases are hard to cure with lack of resources. But you can help. The UNRWA is launching their 2020 Ramadan campaign to ensure that during this holy month, even the most vulnerable among us have food for their families. If you donate to this link, you can help a family of Palestinian refugees. But there are other ways you can help as well. When purchasing Majdul dates, ensure that they are from California and not from Israel. This way, you can avoid Israeli dates and you can help free Palestine. May Allah reward you during this holy month of Ramadan for supporting this cause on Quds Day.
Thank you, Sister Aya, for sharing such a nice presentation. We'd like to wrap up the youth presentations with Brother Muhammad Bakr from Tracy. He just graduated from Tracy High School, and he will be sharing his speech with us as well.
Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. First of all, I want to thank the Bay Area Quds Committee for providing me an opportunity today to express my thoughts on International Quds Day. My name is Muhammad Nakvi and I'm from ICC Youth Group. Today is Quds Day, which marks the illegal occupation of the holy land of Grand Al-Aqsa Mosque, the first Qibla of Muslims. This day has converted into an icon for standing up for truth, righteousness, human dignity against violence, oppression, victimization, barbarism, prosecution, racism, and global terrorism exercised by the oppressive Zionist regime. Zionism is not only condemned by Muslim communities and other world religions such as Judaism or Christianity, but also by the ultra-Orthodox Jewish community themselves. We have seen practicing Jews openly condemn the atrocities and acts of barbarism by Zionists throughout various landmarks in history. Zionism is an ideology which draws nothing from the teachings of the Torah, but was founded by Zionists who are denounced by ultra-Orthodox Jewish leaders. We at Islam are proud to condemn every form of oppression, occupation, and victimization of innocent civilians, be it a Muslim, Jew, Christian, or any ethnic group or person of color. We stand in support of all innocent civilians who are oppressed regardless of their faith, because religion is irrelevant when questions regarding human rights are raised. We denounce atrocities committed by the Indian government against Muslims in India and Kashmir, and by Saudis in Yemen, and also condemn the Myanmar government's continuous acts of genocide against the Rohingya Muslim community. As a US citizen, I urge our government to stop supporting and funding Zionism, and to rather focus on our economy to improve our living standards through means including, but not limited to, a free college education, STEM research, better medical plans, sustainability, and environmental research. I conclude my talk by saying that we disassociate ourselves from Zionists who are enemies of mankind and humanity, and I urge all of you as conscious human beings to stand for justice on this day of Quds and oppose atrocities committed by Zionists against innocent civilians regardless of their faith. Stand for your conscience and stand for justice if you support global peace. Once again, Thanks for providing me an opportunity today to express my thoughts on International Day of Quds. May God bless you all. Thank you.
This concludes the speeches and presentations from the youth. MashaAllah, they all did a very good job, and they should all be proud, and may Allah bless them for their efforts. Next, I would like to introduce Maulana Sayyid Jawad Sajjadi. He is a very knowledgeable scholar of Islam, and he is the resident alim of Masjid al-Hussein in Tracy, California. Please welcome him with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم بسم الله القاسم الجبارين وباسم رب الشهداء والصديقين وصلى اللهم على سيدنا ونبينا رحمة للعالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه المنتجبين المكرمين والسلام علينا وعلى جميع عباد الله الصالحين. Dear respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah's peace and blessing be upon all His prophets, apostles, messengers, from Adam to last prophet and His immaculate, purified progeny, Ahlul Bayt, and sister companions, and all of you, my dear respected brothers and sisters in faith, in Islam, and brothers and sisters who are equal with us in creation. Today is the day of Quds, the last Friday of Ramadan. As godly scholar, great scholar, Ayatollah al-Uzma, Sayyid Ruhullah al-Musawi, Imam Khomeini mentioned, the day of Quds is the day of recognition of the human rights, the rights of the suppressed people all around the world, and the day of rights of those people who are under the oppression and under the aggression and under the wickedness. So for many years, people in Palestine under the oppression of the Zionist regime, unfortunately, they raised their voice, but unfortunately, there is no listening to them. Many international organizations, including the International Organization for the Human Rights, unfortunately, they compromise and they ignore the rights of people in Palestine and all around the world. And this is our responsibilities and duties, dear respected brothers and sisters, in faith and in creation. When we remember and remind about the day of Quds, it's not belong to the people in the Palestine, raising our voice for the human justice, for the human rights, for all people all around the world, in Palestine, Middle East, Afghanistan, America, all around the world, Africa, Yemen, all around the world. So this is not enough just making and arranging conference and seminar for supporting the people in Palestine, but also practically need to be supported. Practically all people who raise their voice, who are caring about the human rights, their voice politically and financially for the people in Palestine to free this land for these people. This land was invaded by the Israel Zionist regime. All Jewish brothers and sisters and Christian brothers and sisters, Muslim United Nation brothers and sisters, all around the world, this is our responsibility as a human being to not only raising our voice, but financially and politically, we have to support people in Palestine and all other people and nations who are under the oppressed and under the aggression and under the wickedness. May God bless all of you, and may Allah's peace and blessing and divine graces be upon every one of you, inshallah ta'ala, in this way, which is the pathway of Lord Almighty, that we believe in Allah, the Lord Almighty, the one who have created all of us equal. So, raising our voice for the Palestine, it means raising our voice for the human justice and for the human right. May Allah bless all of you. Wassalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah Maulana for that beautiful and inspiring speech. Now I would like to introduce our respected guest, Rabbi Joseph Cohn. He's an active member of the Nutre Karta International, a global movement of anti-Zionist Orthodox Jews who voiced the traditional religious Jewish opposition to Zionism and the State of Israel.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for giving me the privilege of standing and delivering this message before you today. With the help of the Almighty, today, International Quds Day, which is set to remember Quds, Jerusalem, and all of Palestine. Many upstanding, kind people from all backgrounds express their solidarity with the people of Palestine. We, of the Jewish faith, join the outcry against the injustice that has been perpetrated against the Palestinian people. The events that happened are tragic and catastrophic for millions of people. In previous years, we have come out on the city center to join together with all of you to help send a message to the world. This year, we meet online, but the message is the same. There is an historic injustice that must be rectified. People of all beliefs and backgrounds have to condemn this injustice and hold out hope for future peace. I'd like to share with you the opinion, the view of anti-Zionist Jewish communities worldwide on the Zionist state and on Palestine. We are opposed to the illegal occupation of Palestine, the brutal murder and oppression of its people, and the unjust displacement of its indigenous population. We are here to express our sympathy with the pain and the ongoing suffering of the Palestinian people who are deprived of their land and livelihood, living in camps or stateless in their own land. Many Palestinians, due to the occupation, are still poor, starving, with inadequate food and water supply, unemployment, with nowhere to go. We oppose the occupation of Palestine as human beings, because this is a crime against humanity. We are opposed to it as followers of the Jewish faith, because Judaism teaches compassion and kindness. Therefore, we stand in support and solidarity with the people who suffer from this occupation. This occupation is not only a tragedy for Palestinians, this is a nightmare for our Jewish community too. Orthodox Jews are constantly harassed and oppressed by the Zionist government, told that they must go to the army and physically take part in their criminal actions or else go to jail. Orthodox Jews are slandered when the Zionists commit crimes in the name of Judaism. The Zionist movement is a disaster for Jewish religion. Zionism is fundamentally against the Torah, against Judaism. Zionism is a transformation of Judaism from a religion, the service of the Almighty, into nationalism, void of all spiritual. How dare they call themselves a Jewish state, when they are violating the Torah in so many ways? The Torah says that Jews must live peacefully and humbly amongst the other nations. But the Zionists wage wars and cause this ongoing conflict. The Torah says, "Thou shalt not kill," and their hands are covered with blood of Arabs and Jews alike. The Torah says, "Thou shalt not steal," and they're the biggest thieves. Creating a sovereign state for Jews is forbidden according to the Torah. God sent us into exile. God placed upon us severe three oaths that, number one, we are not to immigrate in masses to the Holy Land, two, not to fight wars against any other nation, and three, not to force the end of exile. For 2,000 years, during our long exile, we have kept our loyalty to God and His command. But the Zionists disregard all religious requirements of Judaism because they detest the Jewish religion. They only use the Torah when it's convenient for them. The Zionist movement is using our identity, the name Israel, the Jewish religion, to commit their crimes. As Jews true to our religion and to God, we mourn the very existence of the Zionist state and condemn all its actions. The Zionist state was invented by heretics. They must not use our religion to support a rebellion against God and cannot represent Jewish people who do follow the religion of Judaism. The Zionist state was born and raised by lies and crimes. They are lying about the existence of Palestine and its indigenous residents. They are disregarding the decades of Palestinian kindness towards the Jewish neighbors. There were large Jewish populations all over the Middle East and North Africa, including Palestine, before Zionism came. It was the movement of Zionism that destroyed this peaceful coexistence. We appreciate the Muslim lands that hosted us throughout history, protected our people, and respected our religion even more than most of the other countries. From the beginning, when the idea of Zionism was first proposed 120 years ago by atheist Theodor Herzl and his small group of Zionism, almost all the rabbis in the world spoke out in opposition to this movement. To this day, masses of Jews around the world, including occupied Palestine, are opposed to Israel's oppression, mourn its existence, and pray for its speedy and peaceful dismantlement. We are opposed to the entire occupation of Palestine. We don't recognize a two-state solution or even 1 inch of Israeli sovereignty. We are here together in one voice against this injustice. We state that this occupation is unacceptable. It must be denounced, and the entire land of Palestine must be returned to its rightful owners. Let us continue to speak up for Palestine until, with God's help, we will all see a totally free Palestine, where Jews and Palestinians can live side by side in peace and harmony. Amen. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Rabbi Cohn, for your show of solidarity and for showing the world that being against Israel is not being anti-Semitic. In fact, it's the exact opposite. Okay, next we have Maulana Sayyid Abu Dhar Wahidi. He is the resident alim of the Fatimiyya Center in Hayward. Please welcome him with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين سيما بقية الله في الأرضين روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مختمه الفداء. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us so many beautiful lessons in the first 5 ayahs of Surah Al-Qasas. I would like to, inshallah, share some of those lessons with my brothers and sisters. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Tasin Mim. Tilka ayatul kitabil mubin. They are verses of the book that makes the truth clear. نتلو عليك من نبأ موسى وفرعون بالحق لقوم يؤمنون. We recite to you of the story of Moses and Pharaoh in truth for the people who believe. Now, ayah number 4 of this beautiful surah, Surah Al-Qasas, teaches us some of the main signs of the Pharaoh of the time of Prophet Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. And we can find these signs in some of the world leaders' actions in our time, in the current time. Inna Fir'auna ala fil ard. The first one. Verily, Pharaoh exalted himself in the land. He claimed that he is the God, and people must worship him. People must obey him. If people wouldn't worship him, they would be tortured and even killed. This is the first sign of the Pharaoh. Now, we see some of the world leaders. They claim that they know more than other people. They claim that they are the only people who understood the concept of democracy and perform based on the concept of democracy. So this is the first sign. And the second sign, وَجَعَلَ أَهْلَهَا شِيَعًا, and divided its people into sections, into the groups and different parties, and create disunity in tafraqa, weakening a group of them. يَسْتَضْعِفُ طَائِفَةً مِنْهُمْ. And we see we have millions of mustadafin in different countries, and we find them. He slaughtered their sons and spared alive their females. I don't need to explain this part of this beautiful ayah, because if you watch the news, you see it in different forms, in different acts. We see all these are happening in our world. إِنَّهُ كَانَ مِنَ الْمُفْسِدِينَ. Verily, he was of the mischief makers. Now, what is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's promise? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Quran, وَعْدَ اللَّهِ لَا يُخْلِفُ اللَّهُ وَعْدَهُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never break His promise. In the ayah number 5, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes a beautiful promise to us and to the rest of the mustadafin in the world. Ayah number 5 of Surah Al-Qasas is one of the most hopeful ayahs in Quran. وَنُرِيدُ أَن نَمُنَّ عَلَى الَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَنَجْعَلَهُمْ أَئِمَّةً وَنَجْعَلَهُمُ الْوَارِثِينَ. This is the divine will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, irada takwiniyya. And we have intended to bestow our favor upon those who were oppressed in the earth, and to make them leaders and make them heirs. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasten the reappearance of Imam of our time, inshaAllah ta'ala. Allahumma ajil li waliyika al-faraj. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Maulana, for that very insightful speech. It is now my honor to introduce our final guest speaker, Rabbi Aaron Cohen from Manchester, England. He was trained as a rabbi, and he spent many years active in commerce and is now involved in teaching the important but little known message regarding the absolute opposition to Zionism held by authentic Orthodox Jewry, and the fact that Judaism and Zionism are totally different concepts and are in fact diametrically opposed. He is one of many Orthodox Jews who completely sympathize with the cause of the Palestinians and their struggle against the Zionist state.
Hello, my friends. We're here today to commemorate and protest the immoral and illegal and murderous takeover by secular nationalistic people of Palestine, people who are of Jewish extraction, but not Jews in the real sense of the word. Let me introduce myself and explain my words. My name is Aaron Cohen, Rabbi Aaron Cohen of Manchester, United Kingdom. I'm what is known as an Orthodox Jew, that is, a Jew who endeavours to live his life in accordance with the age-old Jewish religion and way of life. And I'm speaking to you today under the banner of what is known as Naturi Karta. That is a name given to those Orthodox Jews who express and propagate total opposition to the idea of Zionism. Zionism, as you all know, I'm sure, being the philosophy and movement which brought into being the present-day state of Israel. The paradox of Jewish opposition to Zionism, something which people cannot understand. How can Jews be oppose Zionism? Zionism was brought about by Jews. How can they oppose it? And my message to you, and the message which I and my colleagues try and give as often as possible, is that indeed not all Jews are Zionists. In fact, more so. Zionism and Judaism are two differing and incompatible concepts. And we, of the Orthodox Jews, Naturi Karta, we feel that we have a religious and a religion-based humanitarian duty to spread the message of our opposition to Zionism, to try and remove from the Jewish people the stain, the blot which Zionism is. And by doing this, we enhance the name of the Jewish people. By that we are taught that this enhances the name of the Almighty, because we are here to serve the Almighty. And we also save lives. As you all know, there is sadly confrontation between people in Palestine, between people who claim to be Jews and non-Jewish people, and a situation which has led and leads to loss of life. By explaining our opposition, we are helping to save lives. Authentic Orthodox Jews sympathize entirely, absolutely, with the Palestinian cause, and they protest the wrongs done to them. That is the authentic Jewish view. Sadly, it's now a minority view. However, it's a significant minority. And also, it wasn't always a minority. Originally, the vast majority of Jewish religious authorities rejected completely, and very many still do, reject the whole idea of Zionism. This is the genuine, age-old Jewish view, and this has what I call the authority of history. It's how it has been through the years, and that is authentic, the authentic Jewish approach. How it has arisen that so many people nowadays, whether Jewish or non-Jewish, are so impressed by the Zionist idea is because one of the basic problems there is that there are differing concepts of identity. What is a Jew? Our teaching is that a Jew means somebody who lives his life according to the Torah, which is our way of life and our teaching. And whereas many people, sadly nowadays, have discarded their religion and they base their identity on being connected to a land like other lands, like other countries, being connected to a land, a secular land-based identity. It removes from a lot of people the obligation to keep to their religion, and maybe that's why it has become so popular. But the fact is, that is not Judaism. Now, just very briefly, we only have a short time today, our opposition to Zionism is based firstly on the fact that it is totally against our Jewish belief and teaching. Our teaching is that the Jewish people are in a divinely decreed exile and have to stay in that at the moment. And we are not allowed to try and come out of it under our own efforts. And to do so is a rebellion against the wish of the Almighty, and it is actually heresy. But that's within the Jewish people. That is our objection to Zionism, because it is against our belief. It is a total opposition to what we have been taught down the generation. But there's another, the other objection, which is something which the world at large can understand easier, and that is that it is totally against the Jewish values of humanitarianism. Zionism has, right from the start, spread the idea that you can go into somebody else's land and take it over and disregard their hopes for self-determination, disregard their livelihoods, disregard their hopes for a land of their own. And this is a shocking contravention of our humanitarian values. The idea behind Zionism was to override by force, if necessary, any opposition, and to have complete disregard in order to achieve this aim of having a land of their own, a nationalistic land of their own. In order to, they were prepared to, and still are prepared to, try and achieve this aim by total disregard for human life. So, very briefly, the authentic Orthodox Jewish view is there should not be a Zionist state. It's a flawed concept, whether on religious or religion-based humanitarian ground. My friends, I want you to understand that Zionists do not truly represent the Jewish people. They set themselves up as representing the Jewish people, but this is a falsehood and total misrepresentation. And what transpires from that is that to be anti-Zionist is not anti-Semitism. Zionists, if anything, are the basic cause of modern anti-Semitism. They set themselves up originally as a cure for the Jewish suffering and anti-Semitism, but they are not a cure. They are actually a cause of anti-Semitism. And my friends, I want you to understand that the Zionists, as can be seen by many tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people, can be seen do such wrong things in today's world, do not blame Jews and Judaism for the wrongs of Zionists and Zionism. What is the solution to this problem, this terrible problem of the tragedy which has befallen the Palestinian people in Palestine in the name of the Jewish people? We don't know. We are not politicians. We can only pray to the Almighty that the time will come when this problem will cease. Our prayer is for a total peaceful dismantling of what is known as the Zionist state. Because the Zionist state of Israel is the underlying cause of strife in the Middle East. If it wouldn't be in its present form, there would be no strife in the Middle East, and that would have a tremendous effect not only on the Middle East, but on the world at large. I want to end by this, to say that this state, so-called state of Israel, it cannot last. Falsehood must come to an end. There are those who say you can't reverse facts on the ground, but you can. If everybody is determined, you can. And we pray for a speedy, total and peaceful dismantling of what is known as the Zionist state. And there won't be any peace in the Middle East until that happens. And once it does happen, then Arab and Jew, and Muslim and Jew, and anybody else can live together in Palestine, as in previous times, over hundreds, probably thousands of years. Communities have lived alongside each other quite peacefully. And strife in Palestine only began with the advent of Zionism. There is no religious war. We obviously have our religion, but we accept that people can live their lives as long as they live moral and decent lives. If they want to have a religion with certain customs and ways, well, that's fine, that's for them. We don't object to that. Our belief is that everybody should just lead a decent and honest life, caring for one's fellow man. And then everybody will be able to live at peace with each other. And may we merit the time, my friends, may we merit the time of peace among the whole of mankind. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, dear Rabbi, for your statements. And now our program is drawing near the end, and I would like to introduce Dr. Maulana Nabi Raza Abidi, who is the resident alim of Sabah Islamic Center in San Jose, and he will be offering the closing remarks and a prayer for peace and justice for humanity.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد والثناء لله رب العالمين. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم في آخر جمعة من شهر رمضان: يا جابر هذا آخر جمعة من شهر رمضان، اللهم لا تجعله آخر الأحد من صيامنا إياه، فإن جعلته فاجعلني مرحوما ولا تجعلني محروما. Brothers and sisters, first and foremost, I would like to extend my tabrikat and tahiyyat for the month of Ramadan and also arriving or approaching for the month of Shawwal al-Mukarram in few days. And today is the last Friday of the month of Ramadan al-Mubarak. As noble Prophet of Islam, he delivered a beautiful speech on the last Friday of the month of Ramadan, addressing to the people that, O people, know that this is the last Friday of the month of Ramadan, and we may not have the privilege of repeating this month for next year. Like lots of people last year, they're not present with us this year. That's why we have to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us His special bounties and blessings. And also, noble Prophet of Islam, he delivered in this very day about awareness around the globe and what is going around us. And also in the history of mankind, the dhulm and oppression exist. And where dhulm and oppression exist, those who are opposing, they also resist. And the result of the resistance against the oppression, you will see the great, amazing change. And today, as lots of our pretty much whole globe is facing COVID-19 pandemic situation, lots of oppressors, they're continuing their oppression against Mazlumin, whether it's in Palestine or Yemen or in Kashmir or in Uyghur or in different places. Brothers and sisters, especially the last Friday of the month of Ramadan, Al-Mubarak, consider as a day of standing against oppression, and also Yawmul Quds, the day of Quds. It's very important to understand that when we talk and discuss about Quds, is not a new issue. This is long due issue for all mankind to resolve. More than 7 decades, our brothers and sisters, those who used to be from Palestine and still they don't have any identity except Palestine, they're living outside of the Palestine in millions. And beside that, the occupation and the annexation of land with the approval of those who are carrying the banner of human rights, the Zionist regime is going furthermore and occupying every day. Pretty much 90% of the land is occupied. Still, we know that alaysa subhu biqarib, the victory for those who are oppressed one will be soon. And in the history, those who did everything to oppress the innocent people, they did not got anywhere. Maybe for short term they did, but the main thing is those who are observing and majority people, those who are silent, they're not doing, they will be responsible for their actions, and it will cover. Why? Because what goes around comes around. As MLK also says, anywhere injustice, if you agree that, it's a threat to justice everywhere. Justice will be under stake. And Alhamdulillah, today in the Bay Area and elsewhere, you see that the great movement is happening. And I'm proud to announce that all the masajids, all the Islamic centers in the Bay Area, they're standing. And I would like to commend all the scholars, all the leaderships and managements and board members and volunteers, especially those who tirelessly did their best to make, even in this pandemic situation, a best day of Quds, and to bring that in our minds and hearts and our homes, the awareness of standing against the oppression. And also it's very important that as we're observing, lots of people, they are continuing the oppression and dhulm, especially in Palestine. Brothers and sisters, in Gaza or West Bank, whatever you can call it, and also including Baytul Muqaddas, Jerusalem or Baytul Muqaddas, which is city of peace, right now has become a place of annexation and expansion of the oppression. We cannot survive with this. I know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask us on the judgment day for our actions. And we need to take actions as simple as awareness in our hearts and minds, doing du'as for those who are affected one, mazlumin, and speaking out and raising our voice and also standing for our rights and also having a great unity among ourselves. Now, unity is not a luxury or option for us. Unity right now is a oxygen, breathe. Unity is a blood. Unity is necessity and need. That's what's very important for all of us to understand, that without unity, we cannot live and continue. Brothers and sisters, today, as millions or billions of Muslims around the globe, 1.7 billion Muslims around the globe, they're marking the day of Quds, Yawmul Quds, and last Friday of the month of Ramadan, and they're waiting to have the Eid al-Fitr. We know that our brothers and sisters, they're looking for our support, our help, our du'as, our actions, our standing, and conveying them that you're not alone, we are with you, because history will write this. And no matter we like it or not, alaysa subhu biqarib, the result will come soon, insha'Allah. But it's very important that what we did to make this change happen. According to hadith and riwayat, if we don't stand against oppression, we'll be subject to receive Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's punishment. I would like to again thank all of you for listening, for your great voice, and especially I would like to thank our youth, our children, our future leaders, those who gave the eloquent speeches, our speakers, those who enlighten us. And also I would like to thank two rabbis, Rabbi Joseph Cohn and also Rabbi Aaron Cohn, those who also enlighten us. This shows that the Quds, Baitul Muqaddas, or the what are happening in Palestine is not belong to only Muslims. We're not talking about Muslim versus non-Muslims. No, even Jewish also affected there. Therefore, brothers and sisters, it's our duty to stand and to announce. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring end to all this oppression, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring peace for all those who are looking for peace around the globe, whether here in America or in Africa or in Middle East or in Kashmir, Yemen, or in China or elsewhere, especially in Palestine, in Baitul Muqaddas, the city of peace. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give strength and tawfiq to uphold our duties and responsibilities, to perform our duties in this era and in this time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of us, and Jazakumullah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. I begin in the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. There is no God but Him, and Muhammad is His messenger. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ once said that beware of injustice, for injustice will be a dark spot on the day of resurrection. This means that on the day of judgment, everybody who did injustice will be punished. When it comes to oppression, I can go alphabetically listing countries and cities that are being oppressed. For example, A for Afghanistan, where innocent civilians are being killed. B for Bahrain, where the people there are being oppressed and ruled by the ruling party. C for China, where the Uyghurs cannot even practice Islam freely. And that is just A, B, and C, my brothers and sisters. Injustice against Muslims is one of the world's biggest weaknesses. And the reason it hasn't been solved is because the world truly thinks that Muslims are unkind people. It is our duty in Islam to speak out of all shapes and kinds of injustice. Imam Ali alayhi salam once said, "Be an adversary of the oppressor and helper of the oppressed." Therefore, on the annual Al-Quds Day, we reaffirm our stance against the illegal occupation of the Holy Land and the oppression of the Palestinian people. Now, more than ever, we must demonstrate our unwavering dedication to justice and voice our opposition to the atrocities committed by the Zionist regime. We must show the world that even in the toughest of times, when the world is focused on the battling of the coronavirus, we will never abandon our Islamic obligations and will remain steadfast in our defense of the justice and humanity. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم صدق الله